Assalamualaikum, grade 6. How are you? Welcome to my class. Today we're going to review your lessons in your 6B books. And we are going to conquer that book. Are you ready? Let's go! Okay, your first stop in your 6B book is showing possessions. What do you remember about showing possessions? Let's check it out on page 12. When we want to say that something belongs to a singular noun, we add apostrophe s, like this. Jane's locker. How many lockers are there? Only one. It's Jane's. Okay? But when there is more than one person sharing a singular possession, we only add one apostrophe s. Where is it? After the last person's name, like this. Amelia and Jane's locker. Okay, how many lockers are there? There is only one, and the two girls share one locker. The two girls share the same locker. Okay? Next, when we want to say that something belongs to a plural noun that ends in an s, we only add an apostrophe like this. Friend's locker. How many friends are there? There are more than one. And how many lockers are there? There is only one, right? Okay, so you only add an apostrophe after the letter S. Now, if the plural noun is irregular, just like children, just like deer, just like sheep, we add an apostrophe S. Why? Because the plural noun does not end with an S. Like this. Children's shoes. How many children are there? There are more than one. Okay. Next. Amelia's and Jane's locker means each girl has a locker. And Amelia and Jane's locker means the two girls share one locker, the same locker. Okay, next. There are more ways of showing possessions. It's on the next slide. Okay, another way for showing possessions is what you can see on page 13. Let's read together the grammar box. We use of to talk about a part of a thing. Like this. I've put a name label on the door of my locker. So the door belongs to my locker. My locker's door. Okay, and then we can use possessive pronouns like mine, ours, yours, his, hers, and theirs to show who or what something belongs to. We use these words on their own without a noun. So if you cannot ever say mine book, okay, ours book. That's wrong. Okay, if you want to use the noun book, you can use my book, our book, instead of saying mine book or ours book. Okay, like this. I should put a name label on mine too. Mine here means my locker because we're talking about lockers. Okay, so that's about showing possessions. Let's go on to the exercise. Look at your pupil's book, page 13. Complete the sentences with apostrophe s, apostrophe only, of, or a possessive pronoun. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to do the exercise. Ready? Go! Okay, time's up, guys. Are you done? Now let's check your answers together. Number 1. These shoes belong to the children. So, these shoes are, yes, theirs. Because there are more than one children and there is no noun after the blank. So, you use the possessive pronoun, theirs. Okay, next. The girls' blah 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 favorite subject at school is music. Now, let's see. The girls is a plural, right? And then, what do you need to add there? Apostrophe only. Yes, because the plural ends with an S. So, all you need to do is only to add an apostrophe there. Okay, next. I saw William carrying lots of books just now. I think those books are William. William is a boy. And I think what you need to put there is a possessive pronoun of William, which is his. Good. Next, number 4. Can we have dinner at Grandpa and Grandma blah favorite restaurant next week? What do you think to fill in there? Apostrophe S. Yes, that's right. They share the same favorite restaurant. Good. Next, number 5. What is the name of your school? So the name belongs to your school. What's the best word to put there? It is of. That's right. So the name is your school's name, right? Next, number 6. I like Ross and Jack blah brother because he's very funny. How many brothers are there? Only one. And they share the same brother. So apostrophe S is the answer. The shop assistant put the latest women blah shoes in the shop window. Okay, so those shoes are women's shoes. That's right. Women is a plural, but it doesn't end with an S. So your job is to add an apostrophe S. Next, number 8. The hands blah the clock have stopped moving. The hands here belong to the clock. So your job is to put the word off. Okay. On to the next stop, guys. Our next stop is phrasal verbs. Do you still remember what they are? Okay, let's open your pupils book, page 14. Now, a phrasal verb consists of verb plus preposition that work together to create a single meaning. Like this, we must keep on trying. We mustn't give up. So keep and on put together and they make a new meaning, which is to continue. Okay? Give and up are put together and they make a new meaning. What is it? To stop trying. That's right. And phrasal verbs sometimes have different meanings in different situations. Like this. I want to take up taekwondo. Take up here means to start doing an activity. What activity is it? It's taekwondo. Okay, next. The second take up. Your suitcase takes up too much space in the car. Takes up here means different with the first take up. Take up here means to occupy an amount of space in the car. Okay, the third take up. After some thought, the lawyer decided to take up the case. Take up here means very different from the first and the second take up. The take up here means to accept. Okay, now let's move on to the exercise. Okay, let's check out the exercise. It's still on page 14. Your job is to complete the sentences with the correct phrasal verb. Use the words from the box. Use a dictionary to help you. Now guys, I'll give you 45 seconds to fill in the gaps. Are you ready? Go.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, thanks. Are you done? Good. Let's check your answers. After 1 hour, I still can't blood the answers to this question. The best answer is figure out. Yes, that's right, grade 6. To figure out. Figure out means to solve or to find, right? And number 2, you have to blow your hand if you want to ask a question. The best answer is to put up. Yes, that's right. To put up means to raise your hand. Okay, number 3. Mrs. Dodds told us to blow our projects tomorrow morning. The best answer here is to hand in. Yes, hand in means to submit. Very good. Number 4. Your handwriting is so bad that I can't blow what you have written. The best answer here is to make out. Yes, I can't really understand what you have written, right? Number 5. Mrs. Go won't blot the exam papers until the class is quiet. And the last answer is to hand out. Yes, hand out means to distribute. Okay, good job. On to the next stop. Our next stop is reduce relative clauses. Okay, do you still remember what they are? Let's check your pupils book, page 27. We can use a relative clause in a sentence to describe a person or thing. We use the relative pronouns like who, whose, which, where, when, and that to introduce a relative clause. Now, there are two kinds of relative clauses. The first one is defining relative clauses. They give information that is necessary to make the meaning of the sentence complete. Like this. Let's go and see the film that won the Oscar. Okay? Without the relative clause that won the Oscar, the main sentence will not be clear. So, you need that won the Oscar to describe the film. Okay? Without it, the sentence would be like this. Let's go and see the film. What film? Which film? It's not clear. What are you saying? Right? Okay, so you need that won the Oscar to define the film. Next. Non-defining relative clauses give extra information that is not necessary to make the meaning of the sentence complete. So you don't really need the relative clause. We use commas to separate a non-defining relative clause from the main sentence, like this. My aunt, who worked at the cinema, says that the film is funny. Okay? You don't really need the relative clause who works at the cinema. Why? Because without it, This main sentence is already clear. My aunt says that the film is funny, especially if you only have one aunt. Who else, right? So, who works at the cinema is just an extra information that you don't really need. You can leave them out or you can put it in another sentence. All right. Next, still about reduced relative clauses. In a reduced relative clause, we leave out the relative pronoun. What are relative pronouns? Who, whose, where, when, that, which, right? Okay, let's see this. The film that I watched last week was good. Which one is the relative pronoun here? The relative pronoun is that. So whenever you see the relative pronoun in a sentence like this, in a sentence that has a relative clause, you just leave that out. It's okay to leave that out. So the sentence becomes, the film I watched last week was good. Okay. Next, the second way to reduce a relative clause. In a reduced relative clause, which is are, was, or were, we also leave out is, are, was, were. Okay. So if you see something like this, the actor who is in the film is my favorite. There's a relative pronoun and there is a, is, are, was, were. So you leave them both out, okay? So the sentence becomes, the actor in the film is my favorite. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. It's the exercise. Okay, here is the exercise. Activity 8. Write these sentences using reduce relative clauses. So you're reducing the relative clause in the sentence, okay? Let's look at number 1. No Place Like Home, which is a film about a poor family, made me cry. What do you leave out there? Which and is. That's right, the relative pronoun and the is, are, was, were. If you see both of them, you leave them out. So you rewrite in the gap, No Place Like Home, a film about a poor family, made me cry. Okay, now you continue number 2 until number 5. You have 3 minutes. Ready? Go! Time's up, guys. How is it? Are you done? Okay, let's check your answers. Number 2. The film that I watched last night was scary. What do you see there? That? What is that? A relative pronoun. That's right. Leave it out and then rewrite the sentence like this. The film I watched last night was scary. Good. Alright, number 3. The Stranger, which is an exciting thriller, is one of the best films I've seen. Now, what do you leave out there? Which and is. That's right. A relative pronoun and an is, are, was, were. Leave them out and rewrite the sentence like this. The Stranger, an exciting thriller, is one of the best films I've seen. Okay? Number 4. The little boy who is lost in the mountains is only 6 years old. Now, what do you leave out there? Who and is. Very good. So, you rewrite. The little boy Lost in the Mountains is only 6 years old. And the last one. The cinema which is on High Street is very old. What do you leave out here? Which and is. Very good. So you rewrite the cinema on High Street is very old. Good. Okay, let's go to our next stop. Our next stop is either or, neither nor. It's on page 29 of your pupil's book. Okay? We use either or to talk about two things we can choose from. It means one or the other. We have to choose. We cannot have them both, but both are okay. But we need to choose. We cannot have them both like this. Let's watch either a comedy or a horror film like that. Is a comedy okay? Yes. Is a horror film okay too? Yes, they are both okay, but you can only choose one. Why? Because you only have enough money for watching one movie, for example. Okay? Next, we use neither nor to talk about two things. And it means not one and not the other. It's like this. Both options are not okay for you, so you don't want to choose any of them like this. It's neither funny nor spooky. Is it funny? No. Is it spooky? No. So both are not okay. Okay? Now, let's roll the exercise. Fill in the blanks using either or neither nor. Okay? Either is always with or, neither is always with nor. Don't mix them up. Okay? Now you have 45 seconds to fill in the gaps. Ready? Go!
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
Time's up. Are you done? Okay, let's check your answers. Number 1. Let's go to the cinema on Saturday / Sunday. Oh, here you need to choose. So it means the answer must be either or. Good. Number 2. The main character in this film is not like the heroes that we usually see. He is blah strong, blah handsome. So he's not like the heroes that we usually see. It means that he is not strong and he is not handsome. So we need to choose neither nor. Good. And number 3. I didn't enjoy that horror film. It was blah scary, blah spooky. A good horror film must be scary and spooky. So because you didn't enjoy the film, it means that it was not scary and it was not spooky. So the answer must be neither nor. Good. Number 4. You can have a snack. A snack only one. Would you like blah popcorn, blah an ice cream? Here you need to choose. So the answer must be either or. Good. Next, number 5. I'm not sure which film is showing at the Regal now. Okay, maybe this, maybe that. When you are not sure, it means that you have to choose. Okay, so the answer must be either or. It's either The Wish or The Stranger. Good. Okay, now on to the next stop. Okay, grade 6, our next stop is direct indirect speech. It's on page 44 of your pupils book, and it's going to be a long topic. So brace yourself. We use direct speech to show what people say, like this. Mrs. Basu says, I went to Europe on holiday with my husband, like that. So, how do you know it's a direct speech? The most obvious feature of direct speech is the quotation marks. You can see the quotation mark before and after the direct speech. Okay? And you can also use indirect speech to report what people have said. Like this. Mrs. Vasu says that she went to Europe on holiday with her husband. Okay, can you see the difference now between direct speech and indirect speech? The first thing that you can see is the quotation mark is gone in the indirect speech. Okay, in indirect speech, when the saying verb is in the present, what is a saying verb? A saying verb is like say, tell, ask, request, warn. There are so many saying verbs, but this time you only need to uh, know say and tell. Okay, if say and tell is in the present, we don't change the verbs in the reported sentence. Yeah, and we sometimes change the pronouns to report what another person says, like this. This is the direct speech. Mrs. Basu says, I went to Europe on holiday with my husband. Okay, and the indirect speech is Mrs. Basu says. You can use that, or you can that is an optional. Okay, you don't need to use that, but you can use that. Mrs. Basu says that she went to Europe on holiday with her husband. Now you can see the second difference. The second difference is you change I into she. Why? If you still use I in the reported speech or in the indirect speech, it means that you are the one who went to Europe, not Mrs. Basu. Okay? Because we are talking about Mrs. Basu here, so you need to change I into she and my into her with her husband. Okay? Now, that's what is it? Changing direct speech in the present into indirect speech. Okay, next. This is when we want to change direct speech in the past into indirect speech. It's on page 45. It's kind of long. Okay. In indirect speech, when the saying verb is in the past, when say and tell are in the past, like so they become said and told, we change the verbs in the reported sentence in these ways. Okay. She said that she had been to Europe on holiday with her husband. Okay, do you still remember the direct sentence? Yes, the direct sentence is I went to Europe on holiday with my husband. But she said that yesterday. She said that in the past. So when you are reporting the sentence to other people, you need to change everything into more past. I went to Europe on holiday. I went becomes she had been. Okay, so the original sentence, the direct sentence is in the past simple. Your job is to change it into more past becomes had been. Past perfect. Okay, here is the pattern. I have some great photos of Paris. That's the direct speech. It's in present simple. I am staying at a friend's house. It's in present continuous. I have visited Europe many times. It's in present perfect. I saw the Eiffel Tower is in Paris. It's in past simple. And the last one, I was waiting at the airport for 30 minutes. It's in past continuous. Yes, past continuous. Now, your job is to report those sentences. Those sentences happened in the past. Okay? They happened yesterday. They happened 3 years ago, maybe. Okay? So your job is to report those past sentences. How do you do it? The first one, I have some great photos of Paris. That's in present simple. Your job is to change the sentence into past simple. Present simple into past simple like this. She said that she had some great photos of Paris. Yes, have into had. Present into past. Now, I'm staying at a friend's house. It's present continuous. Your job is to change it into more past. So you use the past continuous like this. She said that she was staying at a friend's house. Okay. And next, I have visited Europe many times. That's in present perfect. You have to change it into the past. So you say, she said that she had visited Europe many times. Present perfect into past perfect. Have visited into had visited. Next, I saw the Eiffel Tower in Paris. I saw is in past simple. You must change it into more past. So what's more past than past simple? It's past perfect. She said that she had seen the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Saw becomes had seen. Had plus the verb 3 of see. Okay, the next one. I was waiting at the airport for 30 minutes. And it's in past continuous. Your job is to change it into more past. How do you do it? Like this. She said that she had been waiting at the airport for 30 minutes. You change it into past perfect. Past perfect continuous. Okay? Was becomes had been and waiting still the same because it's a continuous sentence. Okay, so the key is to change everything into more past. Why? Because when the time you are reporting the sentence, for example, I'm staying at a friend's house. It was in the past, right? By the time you are reporting the sentence, is she still staying at a friend's house? No, maybe not, right? Like that. So, the past direct sentences maybe are obsolete right now. Okay? But this is not the case for facts. We don't change the verbs in the reported sentence when we report a fact that is always true. Those rules do not apply in facts when we are talking about facts like this. Mrs. Basu says that the Eiffel Tower is in Paris. Next year, you can still report the sentence by saying, do you know, friends? Mrs. Basu said last year, Mrs. Basu said that the Eiffel Tower is in Paris. Why? Because it's a fact. You cannot say was because it's a fact. It's still in Paris and it will still be in Paris like until the end of days, until everything is destroyed, right? And it is very unlikely that it will be taken away by an alien. Okay, next. You've learned how to change the pronouns, you've learned how to change the verb, and the last thing that you need to change when you are reporting a past direct sentence, the time expressions on page 46. We also change the time expressions when we use indirect speech like this. Mrs. Basu said, I visited my mother in India last month. Okay, so the indirect sentence is Mrs. Basu said that she had visited her mother in India the month before. Why do you change the time expression? Because by the time you are reporting the sentence, maybe the last month in the direct sentence is not your last month. Maybe the last month in the direct sentence was February. But because you are reporting it now, if you are still using last month, it means that the last month that you're referring to is, what is last month? April. So it's different, right? So you need to use the month before. The month before she said that sentence. Okay, so here are the patterns. Now, you change now into then, today into that day, tomorrow into the next or the following day, yesterday into the day before, this week, this month, this year into that week, that month, that year, next week, next month, next year into the following week, the following month, the following year, and last week, last month, last year into the week, the month, the year before. What about tonight? Tonight becomes that night. What about this afternoon? This afternoon becomes that afternoon. What about this morning? This morning becomes that morning. Like that. Okay, guys? Next. Let's do. Write the sentences in indirect speech in your exercise book. Okay? If you don't have an exercise book, just use your notebook. You have prepared your notebooks, right? Okay. You have 3 minutes. Are you ready? Go. Okay, your time's up, guys. Are you done? Okay, let's check your answers together. Okay, number 1. Andy says, Mrs. Basu has bought some souvenirs for us. Now, the direct sentence, in the present or in the past? In the present. How do you know? Because the same verb is says in the present. Okay? Now your job is only to change a pronoun in the direct sentence. Where is the pronoun? There. Us. Us is the pronoun in the sentence. And you change us into them. So you write down, Andy says, Mrs. Basu has bought some souvenirs for them. Okay? Number 2. Mary said, I have never been to Switzerland. Okay? So, in the present or in the past? In the past, because the same verb is said. So you have to change two things in the direct sentence. First, the pronoun. Second, the verb. Because there in the direct sentence, there is no time expressions. So you only need to change two things. You change I into she because we're talking about Mary. I here is Mary. And we have to change have never been, that's the present perfect, into past perfect. So you say had never been. Have never been into had never been. So you write down, Mary said that she had never been to Switzerland. Good. Number 3. Mom told us, I'm going to visit Ansu next month. Now, in the present or in the past? In the past, because told. Same verb is told. So you have to change three things there in the sentence. First, you have to change I into she, am into was, next month into the following month. So you write down, Mom told us that she was going to visit Ansu the following month. Good. Number 4. They said, we have an exhibition at school this week. In the present or in the past? In the past. The same verb is said. So you need to change three things. First, you change we into they, have into had, and this week into that week. So you write down, they said that they had an exhibition at school that week. Okay, the last one. Our coach told us, you're going to climb Mount Offer this summer. Nah, in the present or in the past? In the past. The same verb is told. So you need to change three things there. First, you need to change you into they. Second, you need to change are into were. You need to change this summer into that summer. So you write down, our coach told us that we were going to climb Mount Offer that summer. Good. Who got them all correct? Good job. On to the next stop. Okay, the next stop is linking ideas using linking words. Why are we learning about this? Because we want to make our essays more sophisticated. Do you still remember what they are? Let's check them out on page 61. The first word is therefore. We use therefore to say as a result of something. So after therefore, you always see the result like this. The earth has gravity, therefore we can move about on earth without floating in the air. So we can move about on earth without floating in the air is the result of the earth having gravity. Yes. Therefore has the same meaning with so. So you can change therefore into so. Like this. The earth has gravity. So we can move about on earth without floating in the air. Okay, but we want to make our essays more sophisticated. Instead of using so, we use therefore. And second word, we use however to show contrast between two sentences. Always between two sentences. Bear that in your mind. Okay, like this. Some people think that the moon has no gravity. However, this is not true. So, however, here is to contrast between some people think that the moon has no gravity with this is not true. Okay? As you can see, however has the same meaning with but. But, however, is always put at the beginning of the second sentence after the full stop with a capital letter. Like that. Okay? Because its use is to contrast between two sentences. Okay, the third one is as and since. We use as and since to give a reason. Like this. As the moon is 1/4 the size of the earth, its gravity is less. Okay? Astronauts on the moon can jump much higher since there is less gravity than on Earth. So what follows after as or since? The reason. Yes, very good. The reason the moon's gravity is less than the Earth is because the moon is 1/4 the size of the Earth. The reason the astronauts on the moon can jump much higher than on Earth is because there is less gravity on the moon than on the Earth. That's right. So as and since has the same meaning with because. Because they give you the reason. Next, although. We use although to show contrast between two parts of a sentence. If, however, is to show contrast between two sentences, although is to show contrast between two parts of the sentence. Okay? Like this. Although there's gravity on the moon, it isn't strong enough to help astronauts to move about easily. Yes, although has the same meaning with even though. Like this. Even though there is gravity on the moon, it isn't strong enough to help astronauts to move about easily. So as you can see, they are still in the same sentence, so they become clauses. The sentence has two clauses. The first clause with although, and the second clause is the contrast. Okay? Next. As, since, and because give reasons for something, but although and however, they show contrast. Okay? Next. Let's roll exercise. Circle the correct answer. You choose between although or as, since or although or since, however or therefore, although or since, as or therefore. Okay? You have 1 minute. Time's up, guys. Are you done? Okay, let's check your answers. Number 1. As cows take a long time to digest their food, as the food has to move from one compartment to another in the stomach. Yes, that's right. Because the food has to move from one compartment to another in the stomach, the cows take a long time to digest their food because the food travels so much. Okay, number 2. Blood sunlight is multicolored. We don't usually get to see the different colors. Oh, it shows contrast, so it means the answer must be although. Although sunlight is multicolored, we don't usually get to see the different colors. Right. Number 3. There are millions of species of plants and animals in the ocean. Blah. Scientists have only found about 1 million of them. Millions of species compared to 1 million. That's right, contrast. So you need to use however. Number 4. We have decided not to go out, blah, it's going to rain. Are they in contrast? No. It's going to rain is the cause, is the reason why we decided not to go out. So the answer is since. Number 5. The astronaut hurt his leg. He returned to the International Space Station. Okay. Did he hurt his leg because he returned to the International Space Station? No. He returned to the International Space Station because he hurt his leg. That's right. That's why he returned to the International Space Station is the result of hurting his leg. The best answer is therefore. The astronaut hurt his leg, so he returned to the International Space Station. Go! This is our last stop. Passives. The first one is continuous actions in the passives. On page 75 of your pupil's book, let's check the grammar box. We form the present continuous passive with am, is, are plus being plus past participle. Remember Gordon and his car? What happened to his car? His car is being fixed. Like this. People are clearing the trees. So, is this active or passive? This is active. How do you know this is active? Because the subject is the doer. The people are the ones who are clearing the trees. That's right. This is active in present continuous. It's happening right now. Okay. Trees are being cleared. Is this active or passive? This is passive. How do you know it is passive? Because, can you see the doer there? Are the trees the doer? No. They are the one that receives the action. They are the one who are being cleared. By who? By the people. Do you need to mention the people here? No, because they are not significant. Okay, we form the past continuous passive with was, were, being, plus past participle. Always past participle. Passives are always in past participles. Okay, like this. The farmer was cutting logs earlier. This is the past continuous active. Was cutting. Okay, and then logs were being cut earlier by the farmer. This is the passive. You change was into was being or were being. Just look at the object. Is the object singular or plural? Because the objects here is a plural, which is locks. So you need to use were instead of was. Yes, this is the past continuous passive. So in the present continuous use, you change is or are clearing into is or are being cleared. And in the past continuous, you change was or were cutting into was or were being cut. Okay, guys? Be is the base form of am, is, are, and was, were. Next, the exercise. Let's look at activity 9. Write the sentences in your exercise book in the present or past continuous passive. Add by where necessary. Okay, I'll give you 90 seconds. Okay, time's up, guys. Let's check your answers. Number 1, the tiger was chasing the buffaloes just now. Present simple, present continuous or past continuous? It is past continuous. Was chasing. Okay. What's the object? The buffaloes. Okay. So you put the buffaloes at the beginning of the passive sentence like this. The buffaloes, wait, the buffaloes, only one or more than one? There are more than one, so you need to use were instead of was, like this. The buffaloes were being chased by the tiger just now. Do you need to mention the tigers? Yes, because the tiger is significant. Alright, wait, why did I write the tigers? Okay, just cross out the S, yeah? Number 2, rangers are patrolling the forest to stop the poachers. Past continuous or present continuous? Yes, it is the present continuous. What is the object? The object is the forest. Only one or more than one? More than one. So what do you use? Is or are? Are. Good. So you write down the forests are being patrolled by rangers to stop the poachers. You can leave out by rangers. Why? Because it's their job to patrol the forest. Rangers patrol forests, so you don't need to mention them, but you can mention them, but you don't need to, okay? Number 3, people are killing elephants for ivory. Past continuous or present continuous? It's the present continuous. Are killing, okay? And what's the object? Elephants. How many? Only one? More than one? More than one. So do you use is or are? Yes, you use are. Elephants are killed for ivory. You don't need to mention the people. Why? Because they are not significant. You don't have names. Yeah, if you have names in the active sentence, you have to mention them because they are significant. Okay, specific. They are specific. Sorry. And when every time you see people, it means that they are not specific. Okay, on to the next one. It's completed action in passives. Okay, on page 76 of your pupils book. Let's check the grammar box. We form the present perfect passive with have, has, plus been, plus past participle. See, always past participle. Like this. People have killed many plants and animals. Is this an active or a passive sentence? This is an active sentence. Why? Because you can see the doer as the subject. People here are the doer. People are the ones that have killed many plants and animals. Okay? Have killed is in present perfect active. Okay, next, how do you change it into passive? Find the object. What's the object of the sentence? Many plants and animals. So you put many plants and animals at the beginning of the passive sentence like this. Many plants and animals have been killed. Okay? It's the present perfect passive. Do you need to mention the people? Again, people is not specific. Okay? Next, we form the past perfect passive with had plus been plus past participle. Like this. The biologist had identified the species many years ago. Is this active or passive? This is active. Why? Because you can see the doer as the subject, the biologist, right? And how do you change it into a passive sentence? First, you need to find the object. The object is the species. So you put the species at the beginning of the sentence. It becomes like this. The species had been identified many years ago. Do you need to mention the biologist? Not really, because it's their job to do experiments or to do findings or yeah, something like that. Okay, now take a note here that been is the past participle of the verb be. Okay, on to the exercise, guys. Let's go. Activity 11. Write the sentences in your exercise books in the present or past perfect passive. Add by where necessary. Okay, again, you have 90 seconds. Okay, your time is up, guys. How is it? Are you done? Now let's check your answers. Number 1. Traffic has polluted the city's air. Now, is it present perfect or past perfect? Yes, this is present perfect. Has polluted. Now, what's the object of the sentence? The city's air. Very good. The city's air has or have? Has, because air is uncountable. So you write down the city's air has been polluted by traffic. Okay, do you need to mention traffic? Yes, because air is polluted not only by traffic but by many things, many other objects, right? Like smoke or yeah, something like that. Number 2, we have destroyed many plant species. Present perfect or past perfect? Is the present perfect. Have destroyed. Okay, what's the object of the sentence? Many plant species. Good. Many plant species. Has or have? It's have. Yes, many plant species have. Why? Because there are more than one. So you write down many plant species have been destroyed. Okay, you don't need to mention the we because it's not specific. Number 3, the heavy rain had flooded the town. Okay, present perfect or past perfect? It is past perfect. Had flooded. What is the object? The town. Okay, so you write down the town had been flooded by the heavy rain. Okay, now concludes all of our lessons in grade 6. Okay, Alhamdulillah Hirobil Alamin. Thank you for your participation, grade 6. I hope we meet again in another video. Okay? Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.